Just thinking about luxurious cars in the 1990s era? Yes, they were well known as an era of car advancement. There are the most famous brand models which are still well known because of their luxurious functions. What do you think about the features? Are they still there? If not, then why? In this video, we're going to unveil the latest Camry launch. Without further delay, let's begin. For anyone interested in cars, the classic and unique 1990s were always an exciting time for the automobile era. In the 1900s, they were the best cars considered according to the technology and innovation at that time. Guys, I'm revealing 10 cars I have collected for you from the 1990s that remain well ahead of their time. So, here we go. The first car is the Economy 8 Pontiac with wing windows. The 1900s model, which is known for its engine power, has an incredible feature of wing windows. But these days, air conditioners are standard in cars. Wing windows, also called quarter lights or quarter glasses. They were found in the front door as a side window or each side of the car in front of the rear window. This was considered the best feature of cars before air conditioners became widely used in cars. Do you know how simply it works? By channeling outside air onto those who were within the vehicle, these windows significantly contributed to the ventilation of the interior. Furthermore, in cold weather, the wing windows are good for drivers and passengers who smoke inside the car to have enough ventilation without having to open the other windows. The second one is the Nissan Maxima with front-mounted corner lights. It is considered the best and most reliable sedan according to rankings. As you know, drivers use indicators to indicate to other vehicles which way they are about to turn. But do you know what feature the classic car has if it has to indicate the direction of turn? So, the classic automobile had front-mounted corner lights that illuminated the street they were about to turn. These lamps were of great assistance because they provided light to the region that the vehicle's main beam headlights were unable to reach. But it was useless because these bulbs illuminated even during the day when vehicles activated their indicators. As a result, car designers began to ignore these cornering lights and eventually stopped using them in their designs. The third one is a Mark II Continental with white wall tires. If you have just developed an interest in the automobile sector, you might be familiar with vehicles with black tires. Do you know what luxurious things in the cars existed before that? Yes, the cars before that white wall tires in the late 1980s and early 1990s. And do you know what's the concept of white wall tires? Due to the excessive expense of carbon, automakers only put it to the portion of the tire that comes into touch with the road after realizing that the black substance increased the tire's durability. However, white wall tires were eventually phased out when designers decided to incorporate carbon into the entire tire as its price dropped. The fourth one is Rolls-Royce Cornishes with chrome bumpers. If you recall the recollections of chrome bumpers in 1990s cars, that are the bumpers plated with chromium for lifelong auto fans. Are you curious to know the chemistry behind this? The plating of a surface with chromium increases its hardness, endurance, and resistance to corrosion. Besides, it also makes the surface more glossy, which enhances the beauty of the car and make it easier to clean. However, it is now ignored after the research that hexavalent chromium is a very dangerous substance that can contaminate the air. As a result, automakers started using rubber bumpers in the middle of the 1990s, and chrome bumpers eventually disappeared. The fifth one is American cars with cell phones. The integrated vehicle phone, which was swiftly phased out of technology, is on the list because of this iconic position. It was considered a symbol of luxury and technology advancement in 1980s and 90s. It was installed on the concept, which was particularly popular with business people, enabling drivers to make and take calls while on the go. They were dependent on small cellular networks, heavy and costly. Car phones in this era became outdated, and their now handheld mobile phones became more accessible and affordable. model. The sixth one is the Mazda MX Miata with pop-up headlights. Every antique car enthusiast may know about the pop-up headlights with their unique and creative design. It is seen in many cars from 1960s through the 1990s, which is a futuristic flair and is the most popular feature that many would. Do you know why this design was chosen by the manufacturers? It was chosen because it successfully combined usefulness and aesthetics as it boosts attraction of sports vehicles like the Chevrolet Corvette. These headlights, which were hidden inside the car's body while not in use, would pop up when they had to be used. You guys know that pop-up headlights were popular, but why are they now ignored in today's cars? They had drawbacks, such as increasing production costs and mechanical breakdowns, which ultimately caused their use to wane due to shifting safety rules. The seventh one is an old Rolls-Royce with ashtrays and cigarette lighters. As you know, the ashtray and cigarette lighters were previously standard equipment in cars. It recalls an era when smoking was a regular part of daily life. They are featured on this list. This post was chosen to demonstrate the profound cultural change from a time when smoking was common to the current health-conscious society. These ashtrays and lighters were usually included in the dashboard and passenger compartments of cars. They were the models manufactured between the middle of the 19th century and the beginning of the 2000s. But then, manufacturers removed these functionalities in favor of greater storage or USB connections as the health consciousness and awareness grew, as well as smoking rates decreased. The eighth one is the Aston Martin DB5 with fender-mounted mirrors. In the 1900s era, they were positioned differently and had a more appealing appearance than the door-mounted mirrors that are frequently found in current cars. It is the best design decision that broadens the field of vision and improves the car's visual identity. For instance, the fender-mounted mirrors of the iconic Aston Martin DB5, which was driven by James Bond, add a car's streamlined, elegant appearance. For better comfort and aerodynamics, mirrors were moved to the doors as safety rules and automobile designs were altered. Although it is no longer permitted for new cars to use fender-mounted mirrors, there are still fresh technologies available, such as screens in place of standard glass for cameras. The ninth one is the Volkswagen Beetle with a manual choke. It was an important function in earlier carbureted engines, and it represents a time when vehicle management was done manually. Do you know why it was chosen? This was chosen to emphasize the previous automobile design's emphasis on driver participation and mechanical simplicity. Before the 1980s, drivers could modify the carburetor's air-fuel combination for cold starters by using the manual choke cable. It was removed by the driver during the engine beginning to improve the fuel mixture and then replaced once the engine had warmed up. But with time, the need for manual chokes decreased with the advancement of electronic fuel injection systems. The last one is the 90s cars with automatic seat belts. Have you ever wished that your seat belt would automatically slide over your shoulder? Very well. You're amazed to hear that some cars would do just that in the late 1980s and early 1990s. This feature was chosen because it reflects a period of transition to assure safety to guarantee that seatbelt use was consistent. These belts, which usually included a motorized shoulder belt on a track, automatically adjusted into position when the car door closed or the engine was turned on. Though it's very creative, they were frequently more difficult to use and less efficient than modern 3-point seat belts. But the automatic seat belts became less common as airbags and 3-point seat belts became the norm, but they are still a significant development in the history of vehicle safety. So, these are luxurious car models of the 1990s, which are true examples of the beginning of luxurious era. What are your comments about these functions? Which function do you find more luxurious? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video. Until next time.